Welcome to a new episode of Immigration to Canada. Many people ask this question: how can you actually immigrate to Canada? What are the different pathways? Well, to tell you the truth, there are different pathways, so many of them, to come to Canada. And these are no secrets. And what I'm going to give you now is in the public domain. You can actually get all the information in the Government of Canada website, which is canada.ca. A little disclaimer as we continue. I am not an immigration consultant. I am only using information found in the canada.ca website. And these information that are there are continually being updated. So if you want to use it, first do your due diligence first. We'll discuss about 4 different pathways. There are so many of them, but for this video, we're concentrating on just 4. And in subsequent videos, we'll be picking one out of these 4 pathways made up of different parts and do a deep dive on those particular pathways. And the very first one we'll talk about in this video is Express Entry. The Express Entry is a new electronic management application system for immigrating to Canada. It facilitates both the selection and also the processing of Canada's economic immigration programs. And these programs are the Federal Skilled Workers Class, the Federal Skilled Trade Class, and the Canadian Experience Class, and parts of the PNP, which is the Provincial Nominee Class. This Express Entry is designed in such a way that processing of the application and the selection and the processing actually takes 6 months. And when it says 6 months, you should want to know from what time to what time that 6 months actually takes. It is not the 6 months does not start from the day you put in your EOI, which is expression of interest. It does not also start counting from the day you receive an invitation to apply. It does not also start from the day you sent or you posted your completed application form to IRCC. It starts counting, that is the 6 months, starts counting from the day that the IRCC receives your completed application. It is then you start counting 6 months. And what it means is that before the end of 6 months, everything with respect to the processing of your paperwork to getting your visa is done in 6 months. And that is why it is called Express Entry. The next one we'll talk about is what's called the PNP. And the PNP simply stands for Provincial Nominee Programs. The Government of Canada has granted the right to each provinces and territories to actually look out for skilled talent in areas that they deem fit. So if there is a skill shortage in technology or in the field of medicines, in that particular province, that province on its own can look for qualified people from abroad to fill that. And once they do that, for you to get through this system, you need to express your interest. That is, you need to do the first application, which is EIO, expression of interest. That is the first thing you need to do. And once you've done your EOI, like I said, it's EIO, it's EOI, expression of interest. They will scrutinize your application, and if it is deemed qualified, you will get a nomination letter. This constitutes the first part of the PNP program. The second part of the PNP program is you now taking that nomination letter that you got from that particular province and applying to the federal government as a PRO candidate. By doing that, you are not doing it, taking the second steps. So these two parts is why the PMP usually takes a longer period of time. So generally speaking, in my own opinion and from my own experience, if you are more than 35 years and you do not have high score in language tests, this route, that is PMP route, is a sure bet. It makes life easier for you. So long your skills is acceptable in that particular province, you can go for it. Put in an application and you get a nomination for sure. That is the route that I took coming over to Canada, PNP. The next one we'll talk about is the family sponsorship. What it means is that family members can sponsor other relatives, and those relatives who are in Canada must either be a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen. And those who are deemed to be relatives include your parents, your niece, your brothers, your sisters, your nephews, and even grandchildren. But there are other qualifications that they need to meet also for you to be able to sponsor them over to Canada, or to sponsor you, rather, to come over to Canada. And the last one we will talk about, certainly not the least in any way, is the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. The word rural actually makes it a community-based or community-driven immigration program. What it means is that there are some communities, sometimes you call it villages from different parts of the world, that have extreme skill shortages. And the government of Canada have granted those communities the right to look for people to fill that gap. So the community can advertise for a job and you need to apply to get that job. For you to do that, if you want to follow the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, you need to meet 4 criteria. The very first criteria is meeting the federal criteria set by the IRCC. You need to meet the requirements that are set by the particular communities. Currently, we have about 9 communities that are running that program, that pilot in Canada. And the third one is for you to look for a job. And once you've got a job, you'll now be given a nomination. And once you've got that nomination, bam, you now apply to the federal government as a PRO candidate. Like we said, these 4 pathways are not the only pathways to come to Canada. But for obvious reason, these are very easy. You know, you can come to Canada as a student, you can come to Canada as an investor, and even as a self-employed person. If you found value thus far, hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. And strike the notification bell so that you never miss out on the wonderful content that we are actually providing from this channel. And if you want, please do share this video so that all those who are actually looking for information to immigrate to Canada will get easy access to this. They will know for sure that it is doable, and they will not be fleeced by so-called immigration gurus around. Drop your comments or any questions, and I will do my level best to answer these questions. And I will see you in the next video.